She started screaming when she saw it and saying, "Oh God, please stop raining, please stop raining." She thought we were going to get washed away, but it got, I've never seen it that wild here before.
It was one of many across the area today who woke up to frantic situations. In Washington County, first responders carried out more than 60 water rescues today. In Fayetteville, 30 people had to be evacuated from their homes. A shelter has now been set up for many of them who cannot go back to those homes.
Yeah, it happened when floodwaters rushed inside the West End apartments off Weddington Drive. That's where we find 5 News reporter Ian Taylor. And Ian, a shelter is being set up at a nearby church.
Hey, Aaron and Derek. Wow. Darren and Erica, I did it at 5. I told myself I wasn't going to do that again. That's correct. The church is being set up. The shelter is being set up at the church, the Genesis Church on MLK, for residents to take emergency shelter there. Property management is urging all residents to take that emergency shelter after the complex was devastated by the flooding this morning, and residents were awoken by emergency crews knocking on doors and telling them they need to get out.
She started screaming when she saw it and saying, "Oh God, please stop raining, please stop raining." She thought we were going to get washed away.
Brett Clark and his sister live at the West End apartments, where about 30 residents were evacuated by emergency crews early this morning. He said he woke up to nearly a foot of water inside their home. Now they're working hard to clean up and dry out.
It came in through the building, not through the door, and it came this way. And it kept filling up on one end, so I'd get it out, and then it would fill up on the other end while I was getting it out, and I did that back and forth all night for about 7 hours.
Flooding isn't new to those who live at West End and the surrounding homes. Back in 2017, another storm flooded the area.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was unexpected. I heard that West End had flooded before, but I wasn't here.
But like last time, people are picking up, drying out, and figuring out what's next as the property managers prepare to inspect and repair homes.
Trying to figure out what short-term housing needs are going to be. More than likely, we'll have to move people out to do the repairs needed, and so we're kind of looking at what that's looking like right now.
Again, that church is Genesis Church on MLK. It's not quite clear how many residents will need to use that emergency shelter, but all residents are encouraged to do so. Property management will know about how many people are going to be displaced after the people show up tonight at that shelter. Live in Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Ian Taylor, 5 News.
All right, Ian, thanks. Now, many of our neighbors are cleaning up their yards and homes tonight. 5 News reporter Tiffany Lee is in Johnson, but there's a lot of work ahead for many who woke up to water rushing into their homes this morning.
We're here at Roxanne Place, just one of the neighborhoods in Johnson where people had to be rescued from their flooded houses today. We spoke with one man who actually took a kayak out of his house with his pets. It flipped and he held onto this fence for an hour before he could even get help. After that, we also spoke to someone who was just right across the street in a different neighborhood, Stacy Place, and she told us that they also had a scary morning.
Look how gross that is.
Water and mud cover the floors of Louise Heath's home.
I woke up, I heard water noises, and then I looked around and I saw a deep brown layer of water in here.
This is what they woke up to.
Leaned over, I said, "Stephen, wake up." We got out and it was this high on my knee already.
And with just a few steps, they realized that it was much worse than they first thought.
And I didn't know how we were gonna get out because if it was this high in here, how high was it gonna be outside? So I quickly got stuff together, told my son to go outside, and he opened the door and it just like started rushing in. And so we all three pushed it back, locked it, bolted it up the ladder to the attic.
They waited it out nearly 20 minutes.
Mine's at. And I said, "I think it's starting to go down." I said, "Maybe we won't be flooded too bad." But I mean, it's pretty devastating. It's not the best situation, but we're gonna deal with it and be positive and move forward.
And as you can see, this area, it was hit really hard. In fact, the Johnson Fire Department, they told us that at one point they had 2 boats going out to rescue and their dispatcher line actually crashed. But thankfully they were able to rescue everyone and no injuries have been reported. For now, I'm in Johnson, covering news where you live. Tiffany Lee, 5 News.
Well, people across the area also